If Islam is the worst thing in the West, what is the next best thing? Christianity, you say. Okay, let's talk about it. What have we done to make sure Christianity stays number one in the West? You know, you have to look at Islam in a side where, what do they do well to keep their religion number one that you don't do? Under Christianity, we have watched a mockery of Jesus Christ. We've watched a mockery of the Last Supper. We've watched the Olympic where they made such an obvious mockery of Christianity. We protest, and then we went about our day. Look, I can only speak where I reside, which is in Ireland. But this message, I feel, needs to go to the entire West, so you fortify what is yours. In quantum physics, a vacuum never stays empty. That void needs to be filled with something. Islam, as per my understanding, it fulfills a void. Any void that you left, and trust me, under Christianity, we leave a lot of void. I'll give you a few examples. We removed the church bells. It sounds minor, yes, because we wanted to keep the peace. The noise was disturbing people. Under Islam, if Islam does become number one in the West, you will hear the mosque prayer call 5 times a day. You are complaining about the church bells. That came, I do believe it was midday and 6 p.m. because the only time I used to go home was when I was a kid. Living in Ireland was when I heard the church bells. And I knew it was about 6 p.m. So we removed that. The schools are opting out of religion. Confirmation, communion now is being looked at something that should be done outside the schools, not something that teachers should teach. Why? Christianity is being pushed out. Not only that, under another religion, under Islam, there are certain things that you enjoy that you just will not be able to do that. Islam does one thing great. Its church and state is one. On the West, in the other side, we separated church and state. If you keep church and state as one unified item, the laws can't be negotiable based on how it was written in the Bible. The Muslim follow the Quran to a T. We negotiate with the Bible. People can make a mockery of Christianity. You cannot make a mockery of Islam. The Constitution itself, look, we watched the inauguration, which I made a video of. You have created a void. Christianity is not looked at as something that is there to stay. Islam, on the other hand, they fortify their beliefs every single day, 5 times a day. Our Catholic Church, there's less people on Sundays most of the time because we have built a routine away from religion. It's okay to blame something else outside is encroaching on what you have, but you have not fortified what is yours. Look, I grew up in the Ireland where on Sundays, whether I will sit on the bench on my football game or not, it's church first. Mother's rules, you have to go to church. Not negotiable. I had to text my manager, I might be late for this game. My mother didn't care, church first. The first person who picked up food to put in their mouth during dinner, you had to say grace. My uncle will come in the house, he'll ask you questions about the Bible. When was the last time did we all turn up to church? Not because it was a communion, not because it was a christening. We mainly turn up to church because somebody passed away. How are we going to secure that this should stay? Look, we have moved away from religion so far that if there was just a war of religion alone, there's nobody to defend the church. At a constitutional level, it is hard for us, normal citizens who reside in Ireland, to implement laws that make sure Christianity stays as number one. But at an individual level, why don't we change our routines? On Sundays, I know we do have football games. After football games, there's Premiership games. After Premiership games, we're all at the pub anyway while we're watching the Premiership games. And then we come back home. No God in there on Sunday. But yet, before we walk into the pitch, we bless ourselves. Muslim people score a goal, they bow to the ground on the ground. Because they do that 5 times a day, it's built in. My father used to say this: if there's no enemy within, the enemy without cannot do me no harm. We have created a lot of things in us that makes this temple built on wood that is rotting. We don't fortify it with concrete pillars. We need to have pillars that tells you as a Christian, I am a Christian. But we negotiated so much with the Bible that you fear the threat of another religion because they fortify theirs, you did not fortify yours. And in Europe, whether people like it or not, constitutions may change. Everything may go your way. It's a temporary win. And the reason I say that is because religion as a whole plays a pivotal part in your daily life than you can comprehend. Muslim people don't turn up to pray 5 times a day because it's just something that it's told to them to do. It's built in. It's a routine. What routine do we have? Most people, prior to, when was the last time did most people actually turn up to church? Because they wanted to, not because there was something major going on. They wanted to. When was the last time people gave their confession? And I do understand in Ireland, there is a lot of heinous, horrible things that has happened under the Catholic Church. But any broken house, does it not require repairs, or does it require demolition and build something new? If you want to build something new, Islam is there to fill the void that you will live. It's okay. I've always, for people who have read Jordan Peterson 12 Rules for Life, there's one of the rules that says, fix your house before you criticize the world. You have to look at you first. If you love this land so much, if you want it to stay as it is so, at a community level, we are going to have to fortify religion to every aspect of our daily lives as best as we can. On Sundays, I do know people have activity. We all want to play in the Premiership. We all want kids to improve in their academy. They all have games. But at a community level, we have to implement something that puts Christianity first. A Muslim person is not waking up at 6 a.m. while you are neglecting even why somebody else woke up at 6 a.m. Here's the key to success. The person who does more than what you do wins. I'm up for preservation of a race, a culture, a heritage. I've said this multiple times. You can't preserve yours if when somebody else is working hard on theirs, you're sleeping. When somebody else made theirs a priority of every hour of the day, you are optional on yours. Islam will fulfill a void that you leave empty. It can't fulfill that void on a house that is built on solid foundation. Christianity, as we've seen, is being pushed away in school. We're calling winter lights now, which is Christmas. To what point, at what point enough is enough? The battle is not so much you against the Muslim or Islam, is more so to fortify your house first. Because the people at the top will not give 2 cents about it. They don't care. They have a different agenda. And we've seen based on the inauguration where their agenda lies. But we have weakened Christianity so much. Islam is walking in freely. If you had a strong Christian belief in Ireland, another religion would struggle to push you out, but it doesn't have to. We're not building more Christian churches. We're not turning up often to pray in those churches even. So what is the point of the church anyway? But a mosque is built, a community of Muslims are there. And that keeps increasing. More mosques will be built because more void that you left in your so-called Christian country are left empty. I'm telling you, this is part of business and it works logically in everyday life. In everyday life, if I'm running a new product, I will look where the other product is weaker that I can market mine. It's simple business. Under Christianity, when I say we should build Ireland to be more in church and state as one, because in Islam you can't create new laws that has nothing to do with the Quran. You cannot do that. You create laws that defend the Quran. In Christianity, we create laws that trumps the Bible. We barely gather into our own churches. I don't know most people's praying habits. Most people barely pray. Look, we can protest. Like, protest is great to some extent. I look at protest as somebody who's complaining that they're unhealthy, but they're sitting on the couch and they're not willing to get up and go do something about it. But when somebody else tries to encroach on that, they complain, hey, you shouldn't do that. Under the Christian religion, we have legalized divorce, same-sex marriage, abortion ban repealed, blasphemy removed, and God is being pushed away in the judicial system. So we keep pushing religion outside, but we are mad another one is trying to fulfill that void. Our normal daily routine is not implemented around Christianity, around the Bible. Islam is. If you can preserve what is yours, why be surprised somebody else is trying to put theirs there? We need to do homework to fortify Christianity in Ireland. We need, if building more churches, a church is not just a building, by the way. If you look at how the mosques are built, they build and more Muslim people are there. The community is built around it. We have Christian churches that are empty most of the time. We can't just blame the history of the past. Every broken house deserves to be repaired. We can't just demolish it, because demolishing that, the next best thing will fulfill that void. Is that what you really want? I don't know how people will take this message, but food for thoughts.